The world in which you and I live is one marked by tragedy and violence and grief. The events of recent days have reminded us of that, as if we needed any reminder. But this world is also one of beauty, ingenuity, and remarkable creativity. We don't want you to lose sight of that. And so next we take you to a place where beautiful things are crafted. A glass-blowing shop in the River Arts District of Asheville, North Carolina. That's in the western part of the state in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Here is world intern Ciera Horton.
I'm holding a glass paperweight fashioned out of silica, limestone, and soda ash. There's only one way to turn solids like this into translucent art objects. Lots of heat. This is the Asheville Glass Center. The garage-like workshop is next to historic train tracks in the River Arts District. Heat radiates from large furnaces and blowtorches as artists sculpt melting glass into vases and cups and paperweights. These furnaces are not just hot.
It's 2,300 degrees. It's 1 to 200 degrees hotter than the inside of a volcano.
Ethan Murray is bent over a long table. He's a glass blower, using the heat of a blowtorch to shape a delicate hollow vessel. In a few hours, this will become a perfume bottle. To protect his eyes, Ethan wears purple lenses called didymium glasses. These glasses allow him to look through the flame and see the glass more clearly.
What I'm doing is I'm making a hollow vessel, and I have about 6 inches of colored tubing here. It's white with an amber over it that strikes purple when it's heated. And then on the end here, I have an assembly with a swivel that allows me to turn the rod and the tube and be able to blow inside the tubing and apply pressure and make bubbles and things like that.
When the glass gets hot enough, and hot enough is over 1,000 degrees, Ethan blows through a tube, creating bubbles in the glass. Craftsmen call these bubbles Marias. These Marias give the vessel its shape. It's a technique that has literally stood the test of time.
These techniques were actually developed in Alexandria in the end of the Egyptian era when the Greeks ruled. I still use a lot of the techniques exactly the same way that I see in my history book from 3,500 years ago.
Some of these artisans use blowtorches. Others work around furnaces, which are hot enough to fry your skin instantly. Next door, Ben and John work together in the furnace hot shop. They wear protective glasses and glide carefully around the furnaces so they don't get burned. The hot shop is noisy. The furnace constantly whirs in the background. As Ben shapes a mug, John describes what he's doing.
So Ben first is dipping his blowpipe into the furnace where there's a pot, basically, of molten lava that moves like honey.
The pot holds over 400 pounds of melted glass. Ben slips a long metal rod into the pot to gather some glass.
Then he puts on his color, he melts it into the glory hole until it kind of smooths into one surface, kind of like chocolate chips melting into cookie dough.
Ben dips the rod into tiny shavings of colored glass to create the pigment he wants. Cobalt for blue, iron for green, sometimes even gold. He then melts the color together in the furnace. When the glass is ready to come out of the furnace, it's fluid and glowing bright orange. It's tempting to reach out and touch the beautiful orange glass, but I remind myself that I'd be touching lava. Instead, Ben uses metal tools to shape it. He takes the glass to a workbench, picks up metal tongs, and fashions the liquid glass. Next, John goes to a metal table and shapes a handle for the mug.
I'm rolling this to make a tube at first, and then I'm going to flatten it kind of like a rectangle. Gracefully pull a handle out of it.
So far, it's only been 15 minutes from start to finish, but it still has 12 hours to go.
Hand it off to John, and John's going to put it in a 900-degree oven, which will essentially cool it down slowly overnight. Everything we make takes about 12 hours in the oven after it's done. It's kind of like Christmas every morning when we get to open up the oven and see what we've made.
Glassmaking hasn't changed that much in 3,500 years. For these artists, glassblowing is about appreciating the process of making everyday objects like lamps, glasses, vases, and plates. Back in the hot shop, Ben and John are hard at work on another mug, dipping the rod back into the honey pot of melted glass.
People come in here thinking of glass blowing or glass and art glass as just a cup or a wine glass, but then they leave knowing that glass can be literally anything.
Reporting for World Radio, I'm Ciera Horton.